Going to continue with Oneness versus the 1% by Vandana Shiva and Kartikey Shiva. The Monsanto Papers, a collection of documents which include internal emails, text messages, company reports, studies and other memoranda obtained during pre-trial investigation, have exposed how the company knew Roundup is carcinogenic, how it attacked scientists who presented research confirming links between Roundup and cancer, and how it paid off scientists and journalists. The documents obtained via discovery civil procedure is the US allowing the parties to obtain evidence from each other, reveal that Monsanto runs an internal program, Let Nothing Go, which employs an army of internet trolls besides scientists and journalists. It has now been revealed how the company mounted a smear campaign against Gilles-Eric Serlani, the French scientist who published a groundbreaking study showing an increase in tumours among rats fed genetically modified corn and Monsanto's herbicide weed killer. In addition, the draft of an article written by Monsanto by Forbes journalist Henry Miller in 2015, identical to report that appeared with Miller's byline in the American Business magazine, was found. Forbes has been forced to pull down the story and terminate Miller's employment. Brent Weisner, a lawyer at Baum Hedlund Aristea Goldman, the firm representing the cancer victims, said of the Monsanto Papers, "This is a look behind the curtain. These show that Monsanto has deliberately been stopping studies that look bad for them, ghostwriting literature and engaging in a whole host of corporate malfeasance. They, Monsanto, have been telling everybody that these products are safe because regulators have said they are safe, but it turns out that Monsanto has been in bed with the US regulators while misleading European regulators. Monsanto's influence on scientists and regulators has become a global problem. Interdependent scientists and globalists have been systemically attacked to maintain the false propaganda that GMOs are the miracle panacea to feed the world and that GMOs as an invention justify patent monopolies. This has led to Monsanto media and Monsanto public relations being paraded as science and governments being hijacked by corporations that continue to push the GMOs despite scientific evidence to the contrary. Indeed, governments that make and enforce laws to protect their citizens in accordance with international obligations to exclude patents on the seed and on life, and to protect biodiversity to prevent biopiracy are facing major attacks from corporations like Monsanto. While competition is the rhetoric of free trade agreements, monopoly is the only outcome. Climate change, big data and digital agriculture, the future of agriculture according to the 1%. There are three kinds of convergence taking place in agriculture. The first is the merger of corporations such as Monsanto and Bayer. The second is the takeover of mega corporations by the billionaires through their investment funds. The third is the merger of biotechnology and information technology. In 2013, Monsanto acquired one of the world's largest climate data corporations, Climate Corporations, for $1 billion. And in 2014, it acquired the world's largest soil data corporation, Solemn Inc. Both companies combined Monsanto's patented GMO seeds with proprietary platform, which, like seeds, are a source of royalty and super profits. Climate Corporation does not bring the farmer deeper insight about the role of industrial agriculture in contributing to climate instability. It does not share the knowledge that the solution to climate change lies below our feet in the soil, and how recycling organic matter on the farm is the most effective mitigation and adaptation response to climate change. No Climate Corporation sells data, its website states. The company proprietizes climate technology platform, combines hyperlocal weather monitoring, agronomic modelling and high-resolution weather simulations to deliver a suite of tools that help farmers manage risks through precision agriculture products and services, including precision farming equipment and software, prescriptive agricultural technologies, and insurance products. The company's Climate Basic and Climate Pro model SaaS solution help farmers improve profitability to make better informed operating decisions. Solemn Inc. does not work with farmers to understand the rich soil food web, bacteria, fungi and earthworms. The assets acquisition of Monsanto Company, the Climate Corporation parent company, include the Solium brand, soil testing, intellectual property and soil test lab in Ames, Iowa, and Solem's no-weight nitrate platform. It continues to be the chemical and intellectual property treadmill which has destroyed the soil and is killing our farmers. The Climate Corporation recognises that farmers make hundreds of decisions daily, decisions that are voluntary and autonomous decisions of a farmer who thinks and uses her own mind. Monsanto has also collaborated with the world's 3 biggest farm equipment companies, Deere & Co, CNH Industrial and AGCO, and is working with Deere to put spyware into farm machinery in order to collect data on farms. It is buying IT firms not just to make farmers more dependent on them, but increasingly on surveillance. For Monsanto, data is just another commodity. It is intelligence. As John Hammer, managing director of Monsanto Growth Ventures, the venture capital arm of Monsanto, which has acquired 12 Silicon Valley companies, says, frankly, if you think about it, there are 2 people on earth that need to know a lot about remote sensing technology: Monsanto and the CIA. Hammer was referring to the use of technology such as satellite and drone for farm surveillance by providing a constant flow of images of what's happening on a given farm. Monsanto's integral farming system platform has been set up by combining digital agriculture, data science and genetic engineering, creating higher levels integration of abstractions and instruments for control, which is not the basis of food security. David Friedberg, who established Climate Corporation, which he then sold to Monsanto, has no idea that ecological farmers, through their rich experimental knowledge, offer the most significant and real response to climate change, that their real knowledge produce real food and real nourishment. He does not see farmers as producers of food, but as consumers of commodities and now also of climate data. And he will help Monsanto sell. That will help Monsanto sell. What Climate Corporation's, now part of Monsanto, is focused on is the global 3 trillion agricultural industry. It is also looking at markets created by the $400 billion subsidiaries for industrial agriculture and government policies that help captive market grow. For instance, the corporation states that it serves as an authorized provider of the US federal crop insurance program. Friedberg also thinks he can tell farmers how to grow and how to grow it on the basis of the massive data that he has collected from farmers and churned into big data using proprietary programs, has no idea of the richness of biodiversity in the world. The intelligence of microbes in the soil and in our gut is just beginning to be recognised by independent science, but this knowledge is already being cannibalised by the mechanical mind for the money machine. The National Microbial Initiative, NMI, of the US government, in collaboration with the Gates Foundation, includes techniques that can analyse the entire genome of a specific microbiome, track the movement of molecules between or within cells, and add, remove, edit, simulate or block specific species with precision that will allow microbiologists to accurately simulate communities or microbiome, predict how they will change over time, and then modify them accordingly. The new robber barons and their digital empires. Bill Gates is the modern-day Columbus. His empire is the continuation of colonization. 500 years after the first colonization, Columbus needed the Pope, a king and a queen for the conquest of non-Europeans, non-Christian societies based on a civilizing mission that would ensure the Catholic faith and the Christian religion be exalted and be everywhere increased and spread, that the health of souls be cared for, and that the barbarous nations be overthrown and brought to the faith itself. Today, the civilizing mission of imposing the Christian religion on non-Christian cultures has given way to the civilizing mission of forcing GMOs and digital dictatorship on small farmers and tiny businesses across the world. Bill Gates is the Pope of his religion, of the worship and imposition of genetic engineering and digital tools. Those who live in pluralistic worlds of biodiversity and diverse agriculture, diverse economies, diverse technologies, diverse language, and diverse intelligences are the new digital barbarians who must be civilized and brought into the empire of the 1%. Technology is the process of creating the means to order and transform matter, energy, and information to realize ends which are at a higher level than the tools themselves. Tools and technologies as tools evolved according to need and are assessed and used as means. They are not an ends to themselves. They are chosen, not imposed. In the fossil fuel age of industrial capitalism and in the age of digital data, data is being made the new oil, the new lubricant of the money machine. Technology is more than a tool now. It is an instrument of power and control, the means to construct a false narrative of our relationship with the natural world and society, eclipsing nature's creativity and productivity and the contribution of those who are colonized, women, slaves, workers and farmers. Besides narrowing the meaning of technology to violent industrial tools, technology fundamentalism inverts the means-end relationship. Instead of being a means to reaching higher ecological, ethical, social and human ends, the deployment and use of industrial technologies become an end in themselves, a new religion. Industrial agriculture and genetic engineering were elevated from a means of being assessed and chosen to a religion to be imposed on civilizing missions on barbarians practicing ecological agriculture. Instead of being evaluated against other tools on ecological and social criteria, those calling for scientific assessments of technology are declared as anti-science. Such a discourse comes from religious fundamentalism, not from rational scientific debate. The reductionism associated with technology is also reflected in the reductions in society. The 99% lose their economic security, their diverse skills, ways of thinking, potentials and intelligence to reduce to the management of digital data. The people end up as an appendage to machines and technologies. The 1% economy works against democracy. Over the last 2 decades of globalization, we have seen that large areas of economic decision-making have moved out of the democratic control of people and parliament. The rules of the game are written by the rich who own the corporations, enabling them to transfer large parts of the economy into the hands of corporations. These powerful corporations then either bypass government or corrupt them to buy democracy, as demonstrated in the Citizens United case in the US, where the Supreme Court ruled in 2010 that corporate financing of elections constituted the freedom of speech of corporations. In some cases, the 1% use their wealth to buy up institutions, shape global policies and distort public priorities. without any public accountability or democratic scrutiny. The very fact that the 1% can control the wealth of the 99% is an expression of the breakdown of economic democracy and justice. We tell the story of the new colonisation by the 1% through the journey of Bill Gates, who, as by August 2017, had $89 billion in the bank and had been the richest man in the world since 2013. In 2015, he was worth $81.6 billion, which has nearly $6 billion more than the $76 billion he had in March 2014, and the $76 billion was $9 billion more than he was worth in March 2013. He's among the 5 men who control as much wealth as the 50% of humanity. Gates knows how to create and run the money machine while presenting himself as a philanthropist who gives away his money. Gates has a personal investment company, Cascade Investment LLC, funded solely by himself and run by Michael Larson, one of the most powerful men in the US wealth management. Gates now has vast holdings in real estate and non-tech companies like Canadian National Railway Co., Auto Nation Inc., an American automotive retailer, and Republic Service Inc., a waste management company. He is making more money than he is giving away. He tells the story of big wealth and big money in our times by focusing on Gates and his role in destroying self-organisation in nature and society to engineer monopolies through mastery, conquest, invasion and dictatorship by the rules he owns and controls for rent collection, which in his doublespeak is called innovation. While he has been central to the establishment of the new civilizing mission of technology as a religion, Gates did not himself invent anything. Microsoft's initial program language was based on BASIC, an acronym for Beginner's All-Purpose Symbolic Instruction Code, designed in 1964 by John J. Kemeny and Thomas E. Krutz at Dartmouth College in New Hampshire, to make it easy for non-science, non-math students to use computers. Before the introduction of BASIC, computer required the writing of custom software which only scientists and mathematicians could do. Microsoft Basic, MBasic, became one of the leading applications in the world, but even the operating systems were developed by others. Gates made his billions through patent monopolies by enclosing the commons of software. The open source software movement began as a response to the patent monopoly. The free software movement is to patented property software what our seed freedom movement is to seeds. Gates is now using his economic power to expand his patent empire to the living world, to enclose the biological and knowledge commons through patenting and biopiracy. He is trying to control the seeds by controlling the gene bank, where the biodiversity of the world is stored. He is trying to pirate and patent climate resilient crops evolved by farmers. He is trying to use digital tools to make out genomic patents of biodiversity and agriculture. He is trying to enclose our food commons by imposing GMO foods. Not only is Gates propping up failed GMOs, he is pushing new GMOs which are known not to work. Notably, through the Cornwall Alliance for Science, he is promoting the failed GMO varieties of BT, brinjal and golden rice, whereas with the bonus of tax-free trade on software, the Microsoft monopoly went global. Now the DivSec CRISPR for details on its gene editing and gene mapping technology. You can see that on page 100. And the genetically engineering mosquitoes in Florida. Gates wants to control our food, our diversity and our heritage, and to top it all, he is financing the most unscientific and irresponsible experiment, that of geoengineering. So I'll leave it there for now.